My name is Hannalee Brooks-Human. I'm 32 years old, and I was just diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome, which is basically leukemia minus the cancer cells, so I have no bone marrow. I was feeling really tired and fatigued and sick a lot for probably a year that it was getting really bad. And then at about Christmas last year, I got really sick and I never got over it. I just kept getting worse. And it was like I couldn't stand up longer than about 5 seconds without feeling like I was just gonna pass out hard. I could do nothing but lay in bed all day. My brother Evan came over one day and realized that I was worse than I had been letting on. And he said, "You have two options. I will carry you to the car and drive you to the hospital, or you can walk to the car and we'll go to the hospital." So we ended up at emergency and they admitted me immediately, knowing that I was severely anemic at the very least. They started off doing a whole bunch of blood tests. They checked all my organs. They were making sure I wasn't bleeding from anywhere. My hemoglobin level was 3.1 and normally it should be about 12. So my blood was disappearing and they couldn't figure out where. 3 or 4 days after I was admitted to the hospital, they did a bone marrow biopsy, and even at that stage they couldn't get very much marrow out. They weren't able to get much of a sample. So they had a pretty good idea it was something to do with leukemia, lymphoma. Basically, I have to have my blood drawn about every week so that they can monitor my hemoglobin levels. And once I get down to a certain point, I have to go into the hospital and get a blood transfusion, and it's about every 2 to 3 weeks that I have to go into the hospital. I have to receive anywhere from 2 to 4 units of blood every time, so it's a very long process every time I have to go into the hospital for a transfusion. Basically, it'll get my blood levels back up to a healthy, somewhat stable level. The next step is getting a bone marrow transplant. They've already found a 100% match donor, which is kind of rare. I will be going through a round of chemo. They just have to kill off the mutated gene that is causing the myelodysplastic syndrome, and then right after that they'll start the transplant process. It'll be several $1,000s, probably close to $20,000. Without a bone marrow transplant, I would have to continue getting blood transfusions on a regular basis, and they can only do that for so long. Your body starts fighting against them and your organs shut down. Basically, I am fighting for my life. I have no other option than to get a transplant.
How can people help?
People can help by praying. You can donate through Help Hope Live, or you can always donate blood.